بسم الله والحمد لله وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Now, who here thinks that this lecture is just for adults? Raise your hand. This lecture is for adults. Raise your hands. Ali, you think so? No?
It's talking about parenting.
Umar, he thinks so. Even this kid, inshallah, thinks so.
Most of it is for adults.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, who here thinks that this lecture is for adults and parents? Parents and kids. Parents and children. Some of you didn't answer for either. What's up? Were you no voting in the masjid? This lecture is a family lecture. It's not just for parents. And it's not just for kids. It's a family lecture. Just a while ago, our brother here asked us we should make a lecture specifically for the kids, for the youth.
Yeah.
And he agrees. Now, I do understand, and I appreciate the enthusiasm. But for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's only 24 hours in a day. And for the most part, people can hardly make it to one lecture a week. Right? So I don't know how practical it is to have a separate lecture for the youth. I would rather address youth issues and parent issues in a family type of lecture, a family-friendly lecture where I'm addressing all of the issues at one time. It's easier for me, and that's what the point is. You bring your kid to the masjid, so you sit with him. So really, literally speaking, it would be very nice if all of the parents of these young men were sitting next to them. Well, I understand if our sisters don't sit next to them, but at least the fathers would be here. That would be extremely wonderful. That's the point. You come to the masjid with them so that they can sit and learn and listen together. It's a development. It's a communal development. Tayyib, I want us to understand it. So look at this. Look at this as a communal development, communal effort. All of you youngsters, Salah, and all of you beautiful young men, come sit over here on the floor in front of me. Khalid, Umar, Azuz. Let's go. Come sit right here. Yalla, come on. Sit right here in front of me, please. Yalla, sit here, please, Habib. No, here. That's right. There you go. I said that. Please, shakar Allah lak. You don't have to separate. I expect nothing but good from you all. But inshallah, you'll do excellent. Tayyib. We're going to start our lecture with something from the Quran al-Azim, and I actually used this in my khutbah day before yesterday? Well, yesterday. Jum'ah was yesterday. Man, time flies so fast. In Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah reminded us of Abraham. وَإِذْ جَعَلْنَا الْبَيْتَ مَثَابَةً لِلنَّاسِ. Remember when we made the home, the Kaaba, a place of return for people and a place of security. And all of you should adopt, Allah said, all of you take the place of Ibrahim as a place of worship, as a musalla. And we charged Abraham and Ismail to purify our house for those who are doing tawaf, those who are staying at night, and those who are worshipping through prostration and bowing. Abraham said to his Lord, my Lord, make this city a secure city and provide its inhabitants with all types of provision, especially those of them who believe in Allah and the Day of Judgment. And Allah said, as for the disbeliever, that I'm going to give them فَأُمَتِّعُهُ قَلِيلًا. I'm going to give them a small enjoyment. I'm going to give them a little bit of good time. ثُمَّ أَضْطَرُّهُ إِلَىٰ عَذَابٍ النَّارِ. Then I will push them, or I will force them, or I will make incumbent upon them, or destined for them the punishment of hell. And that is the worst place to go. In that you understand that Ibrahim alayhi salam is asking Allah for a future for his children. He's requesting a future for his children. Our kids who think that this lecture is just for parents, one day, or I should say, there was once upon a time where your parents were your age. And quite frankly, they didn't have you're actually getting training right now. You're actually hearing and covering issues that your parents never got trained in. So, and that's why most of them are having, or maybe having, a difficulty in raising you right now. A difficulty in coping and tending to your needs in the Western society. Because they didn't have training like you're getting it right now. So to think that it's just for adults, that's, you're looking at it from the wrong lens. But look at it from a broader lens, you would understand that this is training you for your future. Jazakumullahu kulla khair. So then, Abraham and Ismail are raising the foundation of the Kaaba. They're getting out and they're doing work. Remember we talked about community service and the importance of it. To get out and do work, to get out, come to the masjid and do something. Right? Abraham and Ismail are lifting the foundation and they're asking Allah to accept from them. They're not complaining that it's too hot and send some angels down and why it's only us two working. No. Right? You ever had that feeling before? Where you're doing work at the masjid or you're doing work in the house and you know other people around you, you're thinking to yourself, man, why am I the only one doing it? But Abraham and Ismail, they were taking advantage of this opportunity to build Allah's house. And they said, oh Allah, just accept it from us, please. Just accept it from us. Innaka anta sami'ul alim. You hear all and you know all. And then they asked Allah Jalla wa Ala to make them Muslimayn lak. Make us two submissive people to you. And make our descendants to be a group of people who are submissive to you. And show us how we should worship you. And accept our forgiveness, of our repentance. You are the mighty and the wise. No. You are the accepting of repentance and you are the merciful. And then they asked Allah to make a person to be sent to their descendants who would do 4 things. What are those 4 things that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam came to do for the descendants of Abraham? He had 4 responsibilities. They asked Allah to give this prophet 4 responsibilities. Give me one of them. Give me one. Tazkiyah. To purify them. To purify them. To make them clean people. To make them spiritually sound. To make them upright. To make them choose the best choices and stay away from the worst things. The question is, what did Abraham and Ismail ask Allah to make the Prophet do? They asked Allah for 4 things, 4 responsibilities of the Prophet. He said, Tazkiyah, which is to purify them. Purify, not, wudu and all of that, that's one aspect of purification. But the ultimate purification is a purification of yourself, your nafs. Right? Allah says, فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورًا وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا. And I swear by the soul and the one who fashioned it. فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقَوَاهَا. He then made instinctive to the soul its wickedness and its piety. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مِنْ زَكَّاهَا. The one who purifies himself has succeeded. وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. And whoever stunts the growth of his soul has failed. See? So purification of oneself. And what does it mean to purify your soul? Just if that's confusing, what does it mean? Give me some example before we go on to what the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to do. Alayhi salatu wasalam. What does purification of the soul mean? Yes, sir.
Making wudu.
طيب, that's a part of it. Yani making wudu on the outside to teach you to cleanse your inside. Yes, Yusuf. طيب, how do you purify your soul? Like doing good things. Tawbah. What are some of the things that are considered filth? Spiritual filth. Yes. No, that's opposite. That's spiritual cleanliness. Iman is filth. Yani wasakh or khabath. What are spiritually filthy things? Sisters, please chime in as soon as you're ready. Yes, Yusuf. Arrogance. Excellent. Excellent. He told you. Good job. Good job. You listen well. Arrogance is a filth of the spirit. What more? Give me more. Yes, sir.
Selfishness.
Selfishness. Yes, sir. Envy. Yes, sir.
Bragging.
Bragging or conceit. Gossiping, it's more of an action of outward, right? That's gossiping is outward. Jealousy, we said, yes, sir. Pardon? Being rude, yes, yes, sir. Backbiting, that's actually an action on the outside. We want something on the inside. Yes, sisters, please feel free to chime in as soon as you're ready. More, give me some more. Filth, now? Gluttony is outward. Greed. Gluttony is an action. Yeah, yes. So greed is an inward filth, right? Now, what else? Yes, sir.
Feeling mad about something.
Anger, right?
Yeah.
Anger. Unnecessary or unjustified anger. Yes, sir. Now? Pride. We mentioned arrogance, pride, conceit. Now, that's a good one. That's another one. So these are, so Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he came with the message, he came to purify us inwardly. That's why you do wudu. Have you noticed? That's why you do wudu. If you can do wudu and cleanse your outward body parts before you pray, it teaches you that you need to be clean inside also before you pray. Right? In addition to that, we have all of the ghusl and many aspects of our deen that teaches us some inner aspect. Like fasting, Allah gave us fasting so that we can learn to be self-disciplined. Right? And so forth. So one of the things the Prophet ﷺ came to do was to purify people. What else did he come to do? يُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةِ. Two things. We want this Prophet to teach them law, the Quran, legislation, and al-hikmah, proper application of that legislation. As scholars have differed on the meaning of kitab and hikmah, kitab meaning the Quran, hikmah meaning the sunnah, and so forth. They have many different various conclusions, but they're all basically around the same concept, is that you're learning what Allah told you to do and not to do, and you're learning how to apply that in given situations. And the last thing that Rasulullah came to do, alayhi salatu wasalam, yes, a part of that, but specifically, yes, ma'am. طبعا, education, how? يَتْلُو عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتِكَ. We want this Prophet to recite your ayat to them. Because if he recites the ayat to us, we understand them and we're convinced. And then he teaches us law and application of law, and he purifies us. So we become wholesome individuals. 360 degrees. We're not one-sided over here with a bunch of law and we lose spirituality. Or we're not over here with a bunch of spirituality that has no boundaries on it and we don't pay attention to law. You get what I'm saying? We're balanced individuals. And this is what Ibrahim and Ismail made dua for. That this Prophet do that. And alhamdulillah, did Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam do his job? Right? You agree that he did his job?
Yeah.
Sallallahu alayhi. Definitely. So what is left to us to do what? To follow. Yes, it's left to us to follow. Excellent. And of course, Ibrahim alayhi salam and the rest of these ayat was chosen by Allah. When Allah told him to submit, he said, I submitted to the Lord of the worlds. And he gave this advice to his children. And Yaqub gave this advice to his children. He said, my dear children, Allah has chosen deen for you. So do not die except in a state of Islam. Do you know that even though you're a Muslim, you have to accept Islam? Who knew that? That even though you're a Muslim, you have to accept Islam. Like, who didn't know that? Who thought that being Muslim already is enough? Good, you're being honest. Ali, may Allah preserve you. You thought so, also being honest. That's good. He also thought that's good. Be honest that people think that being Muslim is acceptance of Islam. Being Muslim is an initial acceptance. Yes, when you say La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, that's one thing. If you are a convert or revert like myself, that's one thing when you enter the religion. But when you're born a Muslim, you have to also accept Islam. When you're raised in Islam, you have to accept Islam. And even me as a convert, I have to continually accept Islam. And he's bewildered. You're confused, right? He's confused, and that's what we want. That look on his face, we want him to think, well, how is that? Accept Islam and have to accept Islam? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu dukhulu fi silmi kafa. O people of belief, enter into as-silm, which is al-Islam, all the way. He called you people of belief, but he said, do what? Enter into Islam. All the way. Meaning not just one toe, not one foot, not one leg, not half your body. Allah said enter into it all the way. It's a constant acceptance. Islam is a consistent submission. It does not end with saying La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah and starting prayers and roza, fasting and nice. No, it says that's where it begins. That's where it begins. طيب. After that, Allah said, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, aminu billahi wa rasuli. O people of belief, believe in Allah and His Messenger. طيب, why did He call you people of belief if you didn't believe? He said, people of belief, believe in Allah and His Messenger. Even though you're a person who believes in Allah, you must continue to believe in Allah. And you must increase your faith in Allah and His Messenger, sallallahu alayhi. It's a constant thing. It's not one day, it's not 2 days, it's not, I've been Muslim 10 years, I've been Muslim 40 years. It's a consistent, constant battle. Na'am? Wallahi. Today we're going to cover some challenges of parenting. You guys ready? Challenges of parenting. And now, mind you, this is going to, inshallah, appeal to your youth as well. Number one. First of all, we must develop a safety net to our parenting in case something fails. Having a great plan is awesome, but we also need a backup plan and a backup plan to that backup plan. There must be a safety net. Have you ever seen workers in America working on tall buildings without harnesses and safety nets?
No.
Absolutely not. Because that company might be sued, right? Safety net, that plan is all there. These people are trained very well to get on top of those scaffolds and get very high in the sky and work on those windows. They're trained very well, but they still have harnesses. They still have a safety net in case the harness doesn't work. So in parenting, we have to have backup and safety nets to help us when challenges come. One of the things that we would consider challenges of parenting is lack of experience. Father, where are you going? Come back. Lack of experience. Why do you think there's a lack of experience in parenting? Why do you think there's a lack of experience in parenting? No preparation. Also because usually, yes? Okay, maybe their parents didn't teach them how to be parents, right? Most parents don't teach their kids how to be parents. You just parent your kid. That's it. And you just hope that they were parented. You don't show them, hey son, this is what you do, this is what you don't. Who does that, right? You just parent them. See you. Salam. So there's a lack of experience. Why? Because first-time parents, usually they have either theories of parenting or influences from observing other parents. That's how you get it. Most people who are parents are what? First-time? All people who are parents become first-time parents, right? It's the first time. You didn't go through the experience before. So you're either going to learn from some theories that you read, or you're going to learn from other people's practices of parenting. So it's a lack of experience that's a challenge in parenting. That's number one. We need to know that we're not alone in this. That just as parenting was and is challenging for you, it is challenging also for everyone else. And there's a lack of experience. Sometimes we lose a generation. In fact, I've noticed that we as the Muslim community in America, for the most part, especially the immigrants, but also I would even say the indigenous population, we've lost 2-3 generations. We've lost it. Lost them. And we may lose this one. This one that you see right in front of us. We may lose them. It's a reality. I hope we don't, but it's quite possible that we'll lose them. May Allah save us all. So we've lost generations. Why? Because of lack of experience. We don't know how to raise your kids in the West. As they say in Arabic, ليس الخبر كالمعاينة. ليس الخبر كالمعاينة. Being told about something is not like experiencing it. It isn't. So no matter what you were told about parenting, especially you're talking about in the West, once you're a parent in the West and you go through that 2-3 kids, and then you realize the third child you try to make up for what you messed up, or maybe you mess up on all of your kids and then you're trying to make up for your grandkids. That's a reality. A lot of brothers can come to tell me that, I messed up on my kids. I mean, they're excellent engineers and doctors and so forth, but I messed up. But now, inshallah, I'm going to make up for that by being, training my grandkids to be good Muslims. I mean, this is a reality. It's a sad reality that we have to, we'll come here and we lose a generation or two. May Allah preserve us. Number 2, a second challenge of parenting are pressures that each day bring. Pressures on your father, pressures on your mother. Sons and daughters, listen. Your father goes out and works and he toils diligently in his workplace. And your mother works very hard at home. It's a lot of stress. It's a lot of stress getting out there and trying to earn a living, a permissible halal living, and to maneuver between and away from all of the distractions. Your father, he has to go through that when he leaves your house. And your mother has to go through, crying babies. And she has to go through, sometimes even disrespect from you as children. Talking back. And your parents have to go through also the effects of consumerism. The more you see, the more you want. So then you come and pressure them. Because you want that phone and this phone and that game and this game because your friends have it. And I understand you're in the mindset of a child right now. That's all you see. I do understand that. But then you'll get to a point in your life and you'll look back and you'll be very disappointed at yourself and the things that you put your parents through. You will look back. In fact, how many of you are disappointed about some of the things that you put your parents through? Raise your hand as parents. What? No problem. The kids are. Adults, you're not disappointed at some of the things you put. There's no problem. Put your hand up. Yeah, I'm being honest. I'm disappointed. And some of the things I put my parents through. So the reality is, there's a lot of pressure on your parents. There's a lot of pressure on your parents. In addition to that, that might lead to lack of communication between mom and dad. Dad comes home from work at night. Mom, she's been home all day. She might want to go out with her friend or go for a ride or something. He wants to be in the house and relax, and she wants to get out of the house. That's pressure. And in fact, when lack of communication happens, these are all types of troubles and challenges in parenting. That's number 2. Number 3. A third challenge of parenting is accepting the fact that parenting is a 24/7 job. Right? He said, Yes. Parenting is 24/7. Did you guys know that parenting is 24/7?
No.
He did. You didn't know that?
No. What's 24/7?
24/7. 24 hours a day, 7 days
A week.
a week. Right? Parenting is non-stop. When your parents are asleep, they're still parenting. How? Why are your parents still parenting when they are asleep and you're asleep? Why?
Because if you might be sick.
You might be sick. How else?
You worry.
I'm sorry?
You worry about you.
They worry about you, definitely. Yes, sir.
When you're a baby and you wake up in the middle of the night and you start crying.
Yeah, so they're worried about you. Also, what else? Exactly. Thinking about what you're going to do the next day. Thinking about they're worried about the influences that you're going through. They're worried about if you're going to be serious about your Islam and your prayer. They have to also make sure that the lights are on, that the heat is on, that the air conditioner is on, that there's food in the refrigerator, right? That you don't have rodents and mice and roaches in your home. They have to worry while you're asleep. They're still parents. They still are parenting you. Make sure you have a nice comfy bed. Make sure you have an alarm clock that's going to get you up so you can get up on Fajr and go to school. And make sure you got to get to school safely. Make sure you have enough clothes to keep you warm in the winter. Parenting is non-stop. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in the Quran al-Azim to do ihsan to our parents. Ihsan means, what does ihsan mean? Perfection and excellence. That's why Allah told us to do excellence. Because as soon as they become parents, they never stop. They can't take a break. You can't say, oh, I want to forget my kids. No. Even if they send you for a trip somewhere, they're still thinking about you. They never are not being your parents. Wallahi, even my mother is concerned about me and thinking about me and checking up on me. And if I don't check up on her, she'll wonder. She'll send me a text. Son, you're getting a little bit too comfortable not sending me a text or not come. This is what she said. So my mother says to me, and I'm almost 30, right? I'm sure that your parents are still concerned about you if they're still alive. Think about it. I remember there was a brother, he used to make, mashallah, he used to make very good money, very good business, construction and so forth. And he said, man, my youth, I had so much money. And that was as long as my mother was alive, I'm sure she was making dua for me. So from the barakah of her dua, I was making so much money. Then the recession hit in 2007, and he lost millions of dollars. And this is after his mother's death. And he said, man, he went from being a multimillionaire to struggling to keep, after the recession and so forth, to keep up with the business, to make things work. It's deep. So even as an old man, if you're 40 and 60 years old, your parents, if they're alive, they're still worried about you. They're still being parents. So parenting is not 9 to 5. It's not a 40-hour work, 40-hour a week. There are no vacations. There are no sick days for parents, and there are no substitute teachers. Your parents have to be your parents for the rest of your life. So I want you to think about that the next time you consider talking back to them. I want you to think about that the next time you consider pressuring them about getting you something that you don't really need. Think about it. Once a parent, always a parent, as we just discussed. In fact, somebody told me when I got married, they said, now, when you have kids, you need to know that you can't take them back to the store for a refund. There's no receipt. And nobody's going to, you can't do that. So once you have them, that's it. So, alhamdulillah, yes sir.
Like some parents, they send their kids to boarding school.
If the parents send their kids to boarding school, don't you think they're still worried about their kids?
Yeah.
That's the point. So they're still parents. You can never not be a parent. Yes sir, go ahead.
And also, there kind of are substitute teachers because when parents want to go out and they're not home, they can hire babysitters.
Like if you hire a babysitter, if you hire an accountant, if you hire a maid to clean up the house, right? If you hire a driver to drive the car, you're still a parent. You're still going to be thinking and working. You're still buying all of that stuff and employing these people to take care of your kids. Either way, you're stuck as a parent. Once you become a parent, you're always a parent. So that's number 3. Number 4, parenting is not very flexible. Why? Because you cannot force your child to develop quickly for your benefit. Imagine you want your kids to hurry up and develop and get bigger and do something so that you can do things in your life. No. Man, may Allah have mercy on our sisters and our women who are mothers of our children. As soon as they have kids, then they feel like they're stuck. They're stuck. They can't go anywhere. They can't do anything. Every time they're with the kids. They need a break. And then we come home and we want biryani. We come home, we want hot dogs and hamburgers. When we come home, we kick our shoes off and pick up the remote. Right? This is reality. We want tea and this and that. Think about it. Allahu Akbar. Allah made wonderful specimens and He called them women. Right? And He had them to take up that task of taking care of our kids, taking care of the next generation. May Allah have mercy on them. Ameen. So there's no rushing the child. And there is also no delaying the child's development. There's no delaying. You can't do it to fix your fancy. It's not flexible. You can't rush the child and you can't delay the child. You have to be patient. That's like You planted a strawberry plant today, and tomorrow you wanted to give you strawberries. Is that practical?
No.
Absolutely not. You gotta wait. You gotta water it, let the sunlight hit it, and take care of it. Weed it out, keep the pests away from it if you want strawberries. Similarly, if you want a decent human being, parents, you have to give your children time and space to develop. It's a long process, which leads us into number 5. Number 5, parenting is a long time investment. And it is a long time investment of time and money. I think parents need to start telling children that when you get older, you're going to give me an allowance. You know how some kids, they want allowance from their parents, and do you guys get allowance? Like some money or something? Alhamdulillah, you don't need it. He does. You know, my mom, she used to sometimes have it attached to chores. So if I got my chores done, then I would get an allowance, $50, probably not that much, $20 a week or something like that, something small. But maybe parents need to tell the kids, hey, when you grow up and get a job, you have to pay me 10%. I want 10% of your salary. And they wouldn't be wrong. Could you imagine how much money is going into diapers and socks and underwear and undershirts and soap and toothpaste and toothbrushes and, right? That's just basic. Toilet tissue. How much food you waste. Right? I mean, it's so many things. They spend, I don't know, would you say hundreds of thousands of dollars on the kids? What do you guys think? Millions of dollars. Think about it. Yani, all of that money went into you. Don't you think when you grow older, you should at least give your parents a stipend? Say, Mom, Dad, I'm going to write you a check every month. Give you something. It's not wrong. It's an excellent thing to do. Okay, if you're not going to give your parents money, take care of some of their bills. Pay their gas, or pay their car insurance, or pay their electric. Because you've grown up and you've basically leached them. You've taken all of the goods from them, but you have to figure out how you want to give back to your parents. Jazakumullah khair. Something wonderful to think of. In fact, your parents are more deserving of your wealth than the sadaqah box outside. We come out, we do like this, take our money, put it in the sadaqah box. Your parents are more deserving to your wealth than the sadaqah box even. So think about it. Now, in addition to that, on number 5, consider the situation of Yaqub, alayhi salam, Jacob. He had 10 kids, he had 12 sons. 10 of them were lying to him about the death of their brother Joseph. And they conspired with one another. And Jacob, alayhi salam, knew that they were lying. He knew what? That they were lying. And wallahu alam, if he knew that they sold him into slavery, they sold Joseph into slavery, wallahu alam. But the reality is he had to live with that lie and smile and still be a parent to his children, all 10 of them, for at least 30 years. 30 years of them living a lie and him pretending as if he doesn't know the reality. Isn't that a long time? Isn't that a long lie that they were living? Think about it. Alhamdulillah, they made tawbah in the end and Allah forgave them, alhamdulillah, and they are a great example for us. But think about how long an investment that is. Number 6. Parents are only one of the many influences on their children. That's a challenge. That as a parent, you're not the only influence. You're one of many. Especially in this day and age, era of media, right? And communication. Think about it. We have media, we have internet, we have music, we have movies, we have schools, we have peer pressure. All of that is affecting and influencing your child. That is a challenge. It's not just you. So you send them out to hang out with Bill and Ahmed and Jacob, right? And learn from their teacher, Miss Brown and Mr. White, right? And these people are influencing your children, both negatively and positively. That's a challenge. You have to recognize that that's a challenge. How are you going to address it? How are you going to pad and protect your children? How are you going to take their experiences and develop them from those experiences? It's a challenge, brothers and sisters. Number 7. A challenge of being a parent is that babies are not able to speak. Who here has babies in the house? Babies in the house. Don't you just wish sometimes they could just tell you what's going on, what's wrong, right? They just keep screaming and screaming and hollering, screaming and hollering. Then moms especially, they got to figure out. See, dads, we can go to sleep. Honestly speaking, we can go to sleep and we don't mind. Because we got to get up for work in the morning. But moms, Allah yarhamhum, may Allah have mercy on our mothers. Moms, they hear the smallest peep, smallest, if they heard the bed moving, they jump out like this of their sleep. They sleep with, I don't know, half a brain. Like, dolphins. They sleep one half brain on, one half brain asleep. They're asleep and they're alert. Allahu Akbar. And they have to do all of that to figure out maybe the baby's hot, maybe the baby's hungry, maybe the baby needs to burp. And you just wish that the baby would speak. But the reality is a child can sit there and scream for how long before you figure out how long? Long time. Some of you have baby brothers, right? Long time. And mom, she's losing her mind. She's stressed out, crying, and her eyes are bulging and she doesn't know what to do. Right? That's a challenge of parenting. Maybe if somebody would have told us this to begin with, we would have been a little bit more prepared being parents, right? At least we would have been able to know what to expect. Number 8. One of the challenges of parenting is that parenting requires multiple skills. You need to be a psychologist. You need to be a sociologist. You need to be expert in economics. You need to know medicine, biology, management, art. You need to know all of these things as a parent. You got to know all of these things. You got to be able to communicate with your kid well. You have to know how they develop and how their development changes their behavior. You have to learn about economics. What's coming in your house and how you're spending it, and what you're going to go around and get the cheap stuff for your kids. And your kids, they don't want that. They want the newest Samsung. They want the newest iPhone. They want the best package of the video game. Of course, they don't realize that they don't need it right now, and it's not really important, but they will pressure you until you get it. That's the reality. That's a challenge. So, of course, alhamdulillah, you need multiple skills. Number 9. Another challenge of parenting is that parents should act as a team. Should act as a what? Team. Wallahi, that's a big one. That's a big one. Mom and dad need to be together in a team. So if dad says something, if mom and dad agree on something and dad enforces it, then mom should support it. Not give the child a back door. The child come and complain to mom later on and then she's soft. That's not going to work. Or the opposite. Mom puts her foot down and says, son, no, this is not going to happen. And then dad says, oh, don't worry about it. Come on. How are you going to? You have to work as a team. You have to raise the children together and agree on things. And you will see this later on when you're, inshallah, adults, that parents, you got to work as a team. Successful child development requires cooperation. And guess what? If things are not going out as you planned, don't start the blame game. It's your fault. If only you would have done, and you wouldn't have done, and you would have said, like I told you in the first time, this wouldn't have happened. Don't do that. Don't do that, please. Don't blame game. Just address the issue, team up again, and fix it. Number 10. There's only 14 of these, so we're on number 10. We're almost finished. Parenting requires good management of resources. Tell me, how do you guys use how do you all use let's see. The tube of toothpaste. How do you use the tube of toothpaste? Yes, sir.
You just squeeze it on your toothbrush.
You just squeeze it on your toothbrush. Okay. Is there any particular way that might get the most out of the toothpaste? Yes, sir. Squeeze with both hands. It's going to pop up like that. Yes, Ibrahim. Squeezing hard. It's going to be on your mirror then. Yes.
Take some object and start like that.
No, you know that's not right. Yes. Come on, you wanted to say that? Think about it like this. Yes, sir. Good job. Take the toothpaste from the bottom and squeeze it upward. And the more you use it, the lump just goes up like this. That you have to learn how to use resources well. You have to learn how to keep the bread from molding, to keep the milk from spoiling, to keep the eggs from spoiling, from wasting many things. Parents have to learn these things. So while you sit there and eat a half a cheeseburger and throw the rest away, your parent has to figure out how I'm going to keep my kid from doing that the next time. And why can't they just eat the half a hamburger, wrap up the other half and save it for later? Right? So these are all challenges for parents. Challenge to manage resources well. In fact, if you as a parent do not manage your family appropriately, then who will manage it? Reality is no one. No one will. If we fail to fulfill our duties, no one will fulfill them. And we will lose out on capitalizing or taking advantage of being good parents and being effective, effective parents. Because I think most of us are good people, but we lose sometimes in how effective we are. Have you considered the needs of love, affection, time, and attention? If you get your child a very brand new pair of sneakers, what's the favorite sneakers today? Tell me. Yassine, what's your favorite sneakers? What's the top sneakers right now? Tell me. You don't want to tell me? Cause did you just get it and you feel guilty? Huh? Tell me. Tell me, what's the best sneakers right now? Yo. Tell me. Jordan still? Jordan? Sisters, what's the best purse right now? Jordan's the best purse? Sisters, tell me the best. Come on, tell me the best. Yes, sir.
Under Armour.
Under Armour, what's that? Shoes. No way, I'm so old. I didn't know anything about that. Under Armour is a brand of shoes. I thought it was like thermals or something.
It's just a brand.
It's a brand, but it has shoes. And that is expensive? How much?
And one. It's not cheap.
Okay, and one. Come on, man. You're very funny. Good job. But the point is, these things that we are buying our kids, they're not going to replace love and affection. They're not going to replace time spent with them. Buy them all you want. You will make spoiled children. Buy them all you want, and you will develop spoiled children. Let's try not to do that. Give them more attention, love, affection, time. Say you love them, please. Especially girls. Fathers, please tell your daughters that you love them. Because if you don't say it, John, Hank, and Ahmed are going to tell her that. Do you understand? And when he tells her that, she might like that. And then you know the story, how the rest of the story goes from there. It's a reality. These guys think it's funny, but it's a reality. Wallah. Fathers, please tell your daughters that you love them. Fathers, please tell your daughters that they're beautiful. Please. If you don't, then they're going to wait for it from the knight in shining armor. Wallahi, they've been watching Disney since they were what? 3 years old, 2 years old. So they've developed this concept in their brain. They're waiting for somebody to sweep them off their feet and romance them. Tell them, brothers, tell your daughters that you love them. Of course, tell your sons too. Moms, tell your sons. I think moms show enough love to sons especially. This is how it is. So think about it.
I've got a question.
تفضل يا شيخ.
What's the difference between telling them I love you and showing them how much you love?
The difference is we have to keep people. We live in the U.S., the West, and we are about saying things. All of our sisters can probably agree that when somebody says that they love you and they mean it, it feels different. My aunt, she advised me. She told me before you get married. So she said, when you get married, this is what I want you to do. She said, I want you to tell your wife that you love her every day. And I want you to tell your wife that she's beautiful every day. And he said, I want you to kiss her good night every night. Why did she give me that advice? Because she had been in a relationship with my uncle that he became so protective and overprotective that he just cut her from everything. And she became a trophy wife. But then he started to decrease in his affection and his showing, the saying, I love you. It means something. So we say, as we said, the traditional thing is, oh, well, you know, I show my kids that I love them. They better know. That's old. We're after the crack era here. We're after the late 90s. I mean the early 90s, late 80s. These things have a huge effect on our society. We have to tell the kids, I love you. Most of these kids they look really funny when you say, I love you. In fact, I've tried it. Some of them it's so weird, so strange that they don't know how to say, I love you back.
You have to say it, you have to utter it.
That's right. What I'm saying is it has to start at home. Why don't you tell the kids that? I know maybe from your culture, some of these things are like taboo, and it's not culturally, you just do it, you show love in different ways, but the reality is you're not back home. And that's something that we have to, and you're not going back, honestly, unless you've built a home and you want to go there back from retirement. Other than that, you're not going back home. So you have to figure out how you're going to address these issues and teach and develop your children here in the West. And that's what this lecture is for.
Brother to brother.
Even brother to brother, sister. As they say, tell them, I love you. We have to say it. We have to say it. That's just an example. طيب. Now, number 11. Children may perceive the parents in an opposite way than the parents intend. For example, I'm going to ask you a question. How do your children usually perceive when you want to help them? When you want to help them, how do they usually feel? Especially teenagers. When you want to help them, how do they usually feel? What do you think? Embarrassed. What else? Yes.
Like they say, I can do it by myself.
I can do it by myself. Basically, you're intruding. Right? You're interfering with them. When you help them, they take it as interference. I got it. I don't need it. See? So your child, their perception of you might be different than what the reality is. You have to keep that in mind. Keep that as a parent, keep it in mind that when you are trying to help them, they don't see you as helping them. They see you as interfering in their process and interfering in them getting the job done themselves. Another thing, how do the children usually perceive your concern and your love for them? How do they see that usually? Baby. If your mom kissed you on the head in front of your friends, what are they going to do? You're going to say, Mom, not in front of my friends. I'm not a baby. But that's love and affection. It's love and affection, but the kid doesn't see it as that. Kid sees it as babying me. You see what I'm saying? So keep that in mind. Number 3 of that, when you give your children advice, how do they usually see it? Yes, sir.
Order.
Sir? Yes, sir. Huh? Is it not an advice? Give me some words. Yes, you said like ordering. Bossy. When you give your kids advice, yes, Ismail.
Like we say, I already know it.
I already know it. Like, why are you bossing me around? Why are you telling me what to do? Kids, when you give them advice, it's from the bottom of your heart. And it's for their benefit. And they don't see it as a good advice. What do they see it as? They see it as ordering and bossing me around, telling me what to do. Right? So I want you to keep that in mind. What you're doing for your kids, they don't perceive it. That's why they don't get it. And that's why they don't appreciate a lot of the things that you do, because they don't see how you're seeing it. So when you keep that in mind, you try to figure out how to get them to understand these things, and you are in a better position to continue to help them. Number 12, you have to know what to tell your children and when to tell them. For example, do not feed your children lies with the intention of influencing positive behaviors. You give them lies because you want them to do this or not do this or do this. Give me some examples of some of the myths that your culture told you, maybe your parents or your uncle, about certain things just to get you to do the right thing. Give me an example. It's okay. It's not like you're telling your parents or anything. You're just telling what happens in your culture. Some of those things, yalla. Don't be shy. Parents, this is your turn to answer. Some of those myths that people came up with to keep you from doing stuff. Yalla. The police are going to come and arrest you. Well, actually, we could use that, actually. That's not necessarily a myth. In America, you can call the police and say, Officer John, Officer Ahmed, we're having a problem. My kid, come and visit. That's fine. Yes, sir.
Like, if you tell them to do something and you say, if you do it, then I'll give you a prize.
Think, for example, with wasting things. Did anybody tell you, your parents ever tell you a story to keep you from wasting things? Tell me, yalla, tell me. Some of you are smiling. Give me yes.
The story of the burnt toast.
Story of the burnt toast. So what I'm saying is we don't want to feed the kids lies, basically, to get them to do something or not do something. That's not positive. That's not how we want, you know what I mean? Let's tell them the truth. The truth is actually better than any false myths or stories that we come up with to get them to do things or not do things. So that's why we need to know what to tell our children and when to tell them. Tell them the truth. Sometimes, let's say, if they're too young to understand certain concepts, then give them what they can understand. And when they get older, reason with them. Do you know that till this day, your children, most of them have not reasoned with Islam? They don't know why they wear hijab. They don't know why they pray 5 times a day. They don't know why they fast on Ramadan. They don't know why they can't do the things that their friends and other people can do. They don't know why. They have not been reasoned with. You see what I'm saying? So as parents, we have to reason with them. And that leads us into number 13, which is we have sometimes unintentional bad influences on our children. Unintentional bad influences on our children. So when our children ask us something, we don't understand it, so we give them the misunderstanding. We give them some made up understanding that we thought, and now the children are unbalanced. They figure, well, if I know now that angels don't enter the bathroom because jinnis are in there, then I know also that the angels are writing my good deeds. So now, when I go in the bathroom, do those angels, they run away from me, they don't want to write my good deeds anymore? Or those jinnis are in there, should I be afraid of them? Right? Misinformation. Explain to them, reason with them. Please, parents. I've noticed most of the Muslim Ummah today, we do not read the Quran to understand the Quran. We do not read the Quran to what? To understand it. We just read it. In fact, even when we don't understand the Arabic, or we do understand some of the Arabic, for those of us who understand some of the Arabic, we never go ahead and read what's necessary to understand the rest. In addition to that, we don't understand the Arabic, we don't ever read the translation. Have you noticed? I know grown adults who've never read the translation of the Quran. People, Muslim, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, never read the translation of the Quran. In fact, when you ask them that, they're like, what? Read the translation? The whole thing? It's like, yes, read the whole thing. Right? So may Allah make it easy for us to understand. Last but not least, number 14, the challenge of creating a positive image. The last challenge that we're mentioning is the positive image challenge. We live in a time where consumerism affects how we feel about ourselves. Right? What you buy affects who you are. Yasin, can you stop talking, please? Thank you. What you buy affects how you are. In fact, most of the time we're more concerned about how many likes we have on Facebook and how many double taps that we have on our selfie on Instagram. We're more concerned about that than how much of our prayer that we understand. Did you know that your kids are more concerned about those things than actually understanding the prayer? But it comes from somewhere. There's an arena. There is an environment at home that is one way or the other that has a child thinking that their success is in somebody liking their selfie. Don't you think if you took a bunch of pictures and you had really nice clothes on and nobody liked the picture, wouldn't you feel some type of way? Yeah, right. Why would you sit there and take so many pictures with really good clothes? You want a reaction from people, right? That's reality. If nobody reacted, you would be disappointed. So they measure their success with somebody's opinion of how they look. Think about it. That's the time that we live in a land of consumerism and material. And of course, we have many other lands like that. In addition to that, to the extent that we have been fooled into superficial gains, and we equate success with our appearance, how we look. We also equate success with the satisfaction of our friends. We equate success with meeting the expectation of someone else. We equate success with maintaining the status quo of things, no matter how harmful those things are. That's what people equate success with. The type of job or the figures that they make, how much money that they make. Ya akhi, ukhti, my brother, my sister, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam let us know that the successful person is the person who holds themselves accountable and works for what is after death. The successful akayis, the successful person, the intelligent person, is the one who holds themselves accountable for what they do, and they work for what is after death. And he said the loser is the one who follows his desires and her desires, but has a very wishful thinking, very great wishful thinking about Allah. Like Allah is going to be Ghafur Rahim. You follow your desires and you have this really great idea that Allah is going to just give you Jannah. He said that's the loser. Sallallahu alayhi. That's what we have to share with you all today. Alhamdulillah. It's quite technical, but this is training. You know, training is quite sometimes long and sometimes dry. But we try our best to liven it up and make it practical for you. My youngsters that are here, though you might not need all of this today, you will definitely need it tomorrow. And perhaps you'll appreciate the fact that you can go back and look on YouTube and research this same lecture or other ones that are better than this and see how to be a good parent to your children. You're going to appreciate that. And alhamdulillah, all of these books that have been written on parenting, especially parenting in the West, they will be even probably tripled by the time you are parents. But when your parents started, they didn't have these books. Think about it. Alhamdulillah, we ask that Allah make us monumental parents, monumental Muslims. Ask that Allah make us monumental children to our parents. Any questions? Let's have questions, comments, concerns. Yes, sir.
I hate Instagram.
Really? I hate Instagram. Good job. Yes. You have to continue yourself. Yes.
By that, do you mean doing more than what's followed?
Our brother said, in the beginning, I mentioned that we have to continue accepting Islam. So does that mean that should we do more than what is fard, what is obligatory? We have to maintain what is obligatory upon us. But in order for you to maintain something, shouldn't you be convinced of it? In order for you to be convinced of it, you have to research, you have to read. You have to read the Quran, you have to understand, read the seerah of the Prophet, understand some of the sunnah of the Prophet. As you're doing that, that's the continual acceptance of it. That you're not just coming in and you're just leaving your prayer, you're doing prayer, you say the same du'as for 40 years, and none of them have any feeling anymore. You know, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said many different du'as in ruku', many different du'as in sujood, many different ayats of the Quran that he read, so that it's not so robotic. He wants to continually to be excited about what he's saying and into what he's saying, sallallahu alayhi. And he taught it for us. So that's the continual acceptance. That you don't become dormant or chill But you stay excited about it. Keep on and keep making tawbah, asking Allah to forgive you and so forth. Now, any more questions? Sisters, please, I haven't heard much from you all evening. I'm not forcing you, but if you have a question, please don't feel shy to ask. Or any concern or comment even. I appreciate your comments. Now, brothers. Go ahead.
Although when you first said on the beginning, or after the beginning, that you give your kids stuff, but then they won't be like thankful. Yeah, I think the problem is that most of the kids I've seen, they're not thankful because they're actually trying to do and what they prevent much from reading Quran or stuff is that they like you said, if you go to public school, they teach you to read R stuff. So the parents are giving some tripartite stuff, which is PG, which people, refuse. That's why.
Okay, so the parents, I think their responsibility is to give them what is appropriate for their age. Give the children what is appropriate for their age. Give them, if they're going to watch things, don't let them watch things that is not appropriate. Even the things when they say PG-13 and mature 14, this stuff is insane. Honestly, the television, and then you don't even need television anymore. You got Netflix and all of these other ones. I don't understand how parents can have their kids watching some of these things. But anyway, it happens. And since it's happening, parents need to be more responsible. And say, hey son, when they say PG, it means parental guidance. You should be sitting down watching them. Don't say, oh, come on, treating me like a baby, don't listen to that. First of all, you should teach them that they should never talk to you like that. From a very young age. It's a lot of stuff. This is a lot of work. Being a parent is a lot of work. And unfortunately, we've equated parenting to just having a baby. Have a kid, and that's parenting. No. Have a baby and raise the baby according to the teachings of the Quran and Sunnah that will make our lives better. Then Islam can last. Then there is a legacy to be left behind. But as long as we keep on the way that we're doing, we're just setting ourselves and our children up for failure. Only one that can save us is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even if you try all your hardest and things go sour, it's because Allah decreed. But you can put small effort and have sincerity, and Allah can do a lot with that effort. So please, parents, let's inshallah together take this parenting more seriously and try our best. All of us together, me, myself, and my parent, let's do it together. Let's set a great example for our children here at the masjid. Let's be as wonderful as we can be with them and for them and to them. And inshallah, kids, please be aware that you are the children of a current society, of a current group of people, but tomorrow you'll be parents. So better start preparing for it. May Allah preserve you. Sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad.